to our commentators.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And yes, indeed, it is time for our final match of the day. And this is a big one. It's a rematch, of course, of our first match of the day, where HerO went up against viOlet. And they're going to do it one more time. That was a very unfortunate series for HerO, but you know, luckily enough for him, he has one more shot to go all the way. And we've been talking a lot about it throughout the entire day. For these two folks, there is so much more on the line than just the run of 8.
Yeah, that's right. WCS points are a big factor for both of these players. viOlet has been so close to that top 16. BlizzCon is just around the corner. We're almost there. It's scary to think that the end of September is just about upon us, and then that's it, the final sprint. This is the last leg of the race, Roddy.
Almost. We're another year older, Nate. But the good thing is, with every year you get older, there's one more Christmas. And then you can get presents.
There's one more BlizzCon.
That too.
So the first couple of videos that we're going to see out of these players, merry-go-round from viOlet. I don't think a lot of Zergs like playing versus Protosses on that map.
Some actually don't mind it too much, because a lot of Protoss styles are relatively predictable on that map. HerO is videoing Overgrowth though, so I was onto something earlier today. He didn't do it the first time, but he will do it the second time. Even though that game did not play out the way that I thought it would, HerO still decided to veto it. And I expect, okay, so we're going to play on Catalina. That ring is going to be the final veto for viOlet. Of course, both these guys are very close to the top 16, or maybe we should put that into perspective. It's not like 12 or, I mean, like 25 or 50 points. They're a couple hundred points away, but a top 4 finish should be good enough for both of them. A top 2 finish in this tournament will definitely be good enough for both of them to secure the ticket to BlizzCon, which is of course massive, because just qualifying for BlizzCon last year already gave you $5,000, and I'm pretty sure I looked at the price distribution that it's the same this year, so there is so much on the line for these two folks. And of course, you know, they both want to win. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, these guys, viOlet especially, we've had a lot. We've seen him at almost every tournament that you and I have hit up in North America, and viOlet has done very well in almost every single one. He's gotten into the top 8, the top 4s at all the Battlegrounds events. No matter how good he's been playing, every time we talk to viOlet, anytime he gets interviewed, it's all, hey, you've been playing really well in these tournaments. How you happy with your results? He's like, no, I want to actually win. Like, I'm not satisfied with getting top 4 5 times in a row this year. I would have rather had 5 championships, because second, third place isn't good enough for me. And this is another opportunity for him to really show that he's still on top of his game, because he was a little bit off the radar last year.
And most of these tournaments that viOlet bombed out though in the semi-finals, it was almost always against a Terran player, whether it was Spolt or Bomber. He even dropped the series against Major once or twice as well, or even more than that, as those two folks have been running into each other a lot as well over the last few months. But in the other matchups, he's been looking pretty damn good, even defeating Trap at the Red Bull Battlegrounds in Detroit, which was a victory that I didn't see coming personally. And that has happened multiple times over the past. Like, I love viOlet, I'm a close guy, I was even teammates with him in Warcraft 3. That is a very long time ago, but I've known him for an incredibly long amount of time, and I know how good he is. But for some reason, I still make the mistake of underestimating him pretty often. And even earlier today, I was really kind of feeling a HerO victory, which didn't really have many grounds, if I think about it. HerO has been shaky over the last few months against Zerg. Right now he has lost 6 out of his last 7 best of 3s against Zerg. That really can give you a lot of confidence, but on the other hand, it's been quiet around him. He's been practicing a lot. I asked what he's been doing lately. He said just practice in the MVP house. He's like, I've been busy. So he should be good, and he looked scrappy early today, but he has a chance to redeem himself. And how often haven't we seen it? The player that wins the first best of 3 of the day ends up losing the second one. Even earlier today in WCS Europe, it happened once more.
It's a scary trend, and one that viOlet looks to avoid, as we're now loading into Nimbus to kick off the final series of the day. I have to say, the results that we had got very close to being a bit crazy after that first series with Aiga's almost taking the first match against Scarlet, who would end up getting out of the group first. And I feel that gives us
could have changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had potential for HerO or Scarlet to be eliminated right off the bat. But
this is funny, because those two have actually played against each other in the past in WCS America with tournament lives on the line.
Yeah, this has been a pretty... This group has lived up to expectations. It's been pretty awesome so far. And one last best of 3 to go. as we are loaded in the top left position. The red Zerg player representing the CSN agency, he is viOlet.
viOlet, of course, going up against this blue Protoss, spawning on the right top side of Nimbus, representing Team Liquid. Give it up for HerO.
Now, HerO with the fast pylon scout. On a map this big, I don't think it's bad. Unfortunately for him, he's not going to find viOlet's base anytime soon.
Yeah, I kind of think he wants to open up with a relatively quick forge, maybe a 13 forts behind this. And this is, of course, a very popular map for Zerg players to go hatch first on because of that in-base expanded, one of the easiest maps to go for it. viOlet has his drone heading in the right direction, as we'll see, and that is going to definitely trigger him to go pull before hatch if he would see a forge go down, and this probe is going to see the drone. This might actually change HerO's attentions, but nope. He's still going to drop the forge, which will most likely mean that viOlet is going to open up.
In a crazy world, does he hatch block? Does he do it? He'd have to build another pylon.
Yeah, that's
and
actually
then
not a bad decision at all.
Oh, okay. Close.
It's really important that HerO denied this, because that could have been so frustrating. That also completely changes the dynamic of the game, and that's just not the type of game. Now, this is a decision I don't necessarily agree with. I would have loved to see the hatch block, because that forces HerO to take care of it, but HerO can still cannon rush this hatchery on the left top side of the map, and that is something that I'm a little bit worried about for viOlet. Even though the cannon rush would be very late, if HerO wants to do it, he has to go in immediately, drop pylons. He might actually be too late for it already, but we'll see.
Yeah, this probe comes in. It's like, okay, you went hatch first. The Nexus is on the way. But I don't think this is a situation where, if that probe had gotten there much faster, everything could have been different.
Yep, HerO is going to play this safe. That's why perhaps he opened up with the forge all along, just because he wants to be safe. That first series of the day definitely got into his head a little bit. We saw that in game number 2 as well, that they played on King Sejong Station when he made that very random, quick second cannon. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's still 150 minerals that you could use in something else. So I definitely think that viOlet has the upper hand when it comes to, mental state going into this best of 3. But hey, a couple of good moves and everything can swift. Momentum is a thing that comes and goes.
Yeah, it moves fast. As HerO has his gases on the way. viOlet, what are you going to do this game? He's shown us some very interesting builds, I think. But with these spawns, is there anything that jumps out to you as far as strategy goes? Is this a swarm hostable position?
It is if you really want to. Good pick up there on that probe. The probe still gets the pylon down though, so that's going to delay this hatchery for just a little bit. Won't be forever, but just a couple of seconds to be annoying. Swarm host is good, but I don't think it's going to be straight up swarm host. This is in general a pretty wide open map, so it's hard for Protoss to go up to 3 bases. Of course, Protoss players are good at creating cute little sim cities, which makes it hard for a potential Roach Hydra attack to be very successful. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still a pretty wide open map. So if HerO goes very greedily up to 3 bases and he does it too quick, there is a chance that viOlet will try to punish it with other units than Swarmos, and just something that's a little quicker and hits a little harder.
Yeah, this third gas feels pretty quick for HerO too, as he starts up his Stargate.
Yeah, once again, it's you could say this is a little bit of a greedy build, but then again, it's not at all, because HerO has been scouting a lot. He has the forge as well, and above all, he saw there were no extractors taken yet. He saw viOlet going up to 3 bases as well, or at least the drone was there, the Zerglings were there, so everything looked and smelled like a very quick 3-base build for viOlet, which makes it impossible to pump out 6-7 roaches like he did earlier today on Overgrowth. So the quick Stargate for HerO is a cool follow-up, and I think above all, HerO just wants to get into a comfortable state in this game, in this matchup. We all know that HerO is extremely good if you give him time and pace, and if he can dictate the pace in the game, if he gets up to 3-4 bases and he can do his thing. HerO is very strong, he knows how to avoid armies, he knows how to get proper engagements, he just needs to get there.
Yeah. Oracle is going to be the weapon of choice out of this Stargate, though. So, this Overlord, should be able to see the Stargate. Yeah. Okay, he knows. He double Overlord scouts, which can sometimes mean the death of your Overlords, or you don't want to lose too much too early. But he really wants to make sure he knows what HerO's up to, because honestly, Violet's been pretty damn greedy himself. He has a ton of drones back home.
Yep, and he skipped Zergling speed as well. He has indeed been very greedy, so it's really important. Now, losing this Overlord, you could say, stings a little bit, but that's much better than dying against a very quick 7-gate. HerO has done this crazy build in the past there, where he opens up with 1 Oracle, and then he follows it up with 7 or 8 gateways, which could hit very hard and surprising, but that is not going to be the case this time, as we already see him go up to 3 bases as well. And this is a potential for Violent, in my opinion, as soon as layer is done, start to roach speed and just go crazy on the roaches. Even if there are 1 or 2 Void Rays, I still think that you can get a lot of value out of your roaches, but we'll see if he decides to do that. It's of course a risky move because it's a massive investment.
15
and it needs
drones.
to work out.
Violet's still just cranking out tons and tons of drones.
He might drop the Hydralisk then immediately as soon as he's at layer. It might just turn into a Hydra Link. The Roach one he got very early on as safety, but now he doesn't need it. He could go for a crazy Hydralisk push, which definitely has potential to be very successful against this Stargate into quick 3 bases, which means late Robotics Facility, which means late Colossus, which is the best unit against Hydralisk.
Yeah, I can dig it. Twilight Council starts it too. There you go, Roddy. You're on Oracle yourself. There's the Hydralisk Den.
Never really saw myself as an Oracle, Nate, but I wish I was as fast.
If you could kill workers this quickly, I'd believe it.
Hey, I wouldn't kill anything. I'm a lover, Nate.
Fair enough. So this Oracle is going around. Didn't get too much, just 2 kills so far. But that third Nexus being up so fast for HerO, does this base being up this quick, is it fast enough that it actually helps against his Hydra timing, or do you think it just exposes him too much because he doesn't have a cliff anymore?
I mean, it all comes down to the execution of the engagement for Violet, comes down to the force fields. It's a scenario that we've seen unfold so many times. Violet is doing this off the back of a very strong economy, 68 drones. So the Hydralisk are a little bit later than they normally are, but he opened up so greedy that it actually kind of all works out. And as soon as 20-something Hydralisk start knocking on your front door and a lot of Zerglings are streaming across the map, I think it's a very, very difficult hold. But players like HerO has shown us in the past that it's doable. Blink is halfway done. He's also getting a Dark Shrine, which I'm not sure if that's going to make the difference. Once he survives, it's obviously going to be awesome to have it. But I think he's doing a few too many things at the same time. There are only 14 Hydralisks though for Violet right now, and I feel he needs a few more. Those 3 additional Hydralisks are going to bring him up to 17. But I would like to see a few more. I really think that like 20-ish is the number that in general you really strive for, and that's what you need. Yeah. Nice pickup on that Void Ray.
Yeah, it is quite nice. I like that he's trying to push the creep forward. It's really smart of HerO to stop this creep spread, though.
It's risky, though. He has to make sure that not too many units stream through. He's going to pick up a couple
sentries.
of sentries. It's very well done by Violet, and this is what I mean. HerO has to be careful. He does recall out, which also means only 1 photon overcharge, no defensive time warp. Violet's already preparing for the Swarmos follow-up. But I think this Hydra Ling attack can still do a lot of damage. There is so much more DPS in the army of Violet than there is in the army of HerO, especially when Blink is not ready yet, which it isn't.
No, this army is massive, and a couple of these Stalkers get caught up, but with the Zerglings that close on top of them, there's nothing doing here. That Overseer is in position. The Dark Templar are not going to be game changers for this fight. There's no Dark Templar inside of Violet's base whatsoever, so there's no way that HerO can get aggressive against his opponent. I think this third base, man, holding this against Hydra is just going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah, Violet has to make up his mind, though. He's actually splitting up his focus fire a lot. He was going for Stalkers, then for a cannon, then for a gateway. Now he's going back to the Nexus. He will still get it because of the high DPS of these Hydralisks, but he did lose a lot of units in return. I think Violet was a little bit indecisive there, but he still did a lot of damage. It was definitely worth it.
Yeah, the Zergling reinforcements are going to help crush these Stalkers. The Hydras are quite low on hit points. Without the speed upgrade, I mean, to be frank, they're kind of stuck. They can't. There's no really running away from Blink Stalkers in this situation, so it's just the Zergling flood that has to keep them alive.
A lot of additional Zerglings are streaming across the map, so the Zealot weapon is pretty smart, but they will get surrounded immediately. I wanted to say the good thing for HerO is that he only lost a Nexus and didn't really lose a whole lot of probes, but that definitely changed in the last 15 seconds as he lost 13 workers in those final moments of this push by Violet. And above all, it's just impossible for HerO to counterattack. So Violet is in a really good position right now.
Yeah, HerO's ready to restart that third base.
That was really expensive, Nick.
Violet's got 4 hatcheries.
Yeah, that was extremely expensive for HerO. He wiped in those Dark Templars on a very unfortunate moment as well. There was an Overseer in the mix, so they weren't able to be the game changers like you said. And above all, he lost gateways, he lost pylons, he lost the cannon, lost the mothership core. There are not a whole lot of things he didn't lose. This is kind of funny. We have one single very happy Oracle going ham on a bunch of Swarmos.
Oh, the DTs pick up that Spore Crawler suddenly. This hatchery's taking a lot of pain and actually injecting it when I think a transfuse might be necessary soon. Makes this very uncomfortable.
I mean, that looked okay for HerO, but that's still very expensive, and he's just not very rich. This Oracle, on the other end, has been doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Picked off 4 of these Swarm modes. That's going to give him a little bit of breathing room, but look at the supply. A 160 for a Zerg player against 85 for a Protoss, who's also on 46 probes. He only has 40 army supply to work with. He made a remarkable comeback earlier today against Aigis on King Sejong Station, but this would be even crazier.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in, mostly because you don't have the Colossi, you don't have the Colossus range, and yeah, there's a Colossus on the way now, but one Colossus shifting the tide of a fight like this, when you're this far down in supply, on a map where it's easy to spread your army out, I'm just not sure how I feel about it, Kev.
Well, I know how I feel about it, man.
Like the Protoss players about to cry some delicious tears.
I feel the same way as you felt on Sunday watching your New York Jets in the second half against Green Bay. That's how I feel about it, man.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Ryan.
You're welcome. How much was the lead again, man?
Almost as good as Aegis' lead.
Stalkers and Zealots are doing a little bit of counter damage on the other side of the map, but that 4th hatchery, as nice as it was for viOlet, it's not detrimental to his build. That 3rd base for HerO was, though, so even if he's able to pick off the 4th, losing his own 3rd in return is just not a good trade. He's going to lose more and more probes over here in his main base as well. He's going to lose pylons. I don't think that HerO can ever stabilize from this position.
Nah, Violet's got this one in the bag. These Stalkers come home trying to defend, and the Zerg army's kind of split out, but even these Swarm hosts, just the little locusts that they have, are doing a lot of damage to this army. The Hydralisk Zergling flood that's been streaming across the map. This doesn't look stoppable. A couple of Warpins might slow down the natural push. With the Colossus being dead, that's it. He simply doesn't have the economy to outproduce what Violet's sending at him.
GG is called, and viOlet will take a 1-0 lead in the final best of 3 of the day. Just one map win away now from that very important seed into the quarterfinals, which will also guarantee him additional WCS points. And of course, we'll keep the BlizzCon dream alive. viOlet already said earlier today that he's not going to DreamHack Stockholm, so it is extremely important. This is his one opportunity to qualify for BlizzCon. And I think the same can be said for HerO. HerO just looks like... it's hard to say that he doesn't look strong against Zerg, even though the results lately would definitely attest to that. But above all, I also feel he's getting a little bit unfortunate with all of the openers. And I know it sounds silly saying someone gets unfortunate 3 times in a row, but I do really kind of feel it was the case again. The one time where viOlet goes overly greedy, HerO will not put on any gateway pressure. And I just think he did a few too many things here at once. viOlet had a fantastic economic opening early on, going up to 68 drones while barely spending anything on gas units, or even Zergling speed was very late. Didn't really make any safety units, and HerO was going up to 3 bases pretty quick behind the Stargate opening while going into Blink Stalkers, also getting his robotics facility and dropping a Dark Shrine. It's just a few too many things at once. If viOlet didn't have the strong economic opening that he had, if viOlet would have been a little more safe early on, then maybe HerO would have had slightly more time and would have been able to get away with it. But viOlet's opening was just too economic to survive that.
Yeah, got himself a nice lead off of, as you said, the lack of any pressure from HerO. In map number 2, King Sejong Station. You said at the start of the day you like Overgrowth as violet's map. This is one of the maps that I like for viOlet in almost every matchup. I'm kind of at a loss when I try to think of what I would want or what I would expect from HerO to swing this series back. viOlet just has a lot of momentum, I feel, today.
Yeah, he really does. He does have a lot of momentum going, and he's making all the right decisions. Most of them, of course, calculated. Some of them getting a little bit fortunate as well. HerO getting unfortunate, scouting in the wrong direction. viOlet scouting in the right direction. Just all these small things. Everything is going in viOlet's favor, and HerO just can't seem to get it together. But he's not down and out yet. One good game on King Sejong Station, and maybe HerO suddenly gets a lot of momentum for himself. and everything can turn around once more.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting, turnaround, right? HerO definitely had better WCS America results last year. And then you look at a player like viOlet, who was unable due to visa issues, wasn't actually able to come out and play a lot of round of 16 matches himself, despite qualifying a few times. But now viOlet has really been on the upswing, and a lot of the good HerO fans. If he drops this next map, going to be pretty disappointed.
Yep, and I personally expected a little more from HerO as well, but once again, I still feel that, I know I'm defending HerO, but I just feel he's getting a little bit unfortunate in a lot of these small things, and PvZ is definitely a matchup which mostly comes down to skill, but you know, getting a little bit lucky with some of the builds you chose or how you scout, what you're able to see with your scout, especially on a 4-player map like Nimbus, definitely has a huge impact on how the game is being played out. Sejong Station is a 2-player map, there are no excuses here, and I hope for HerO that he's at least able to bring his A game, and then if it's not good enough, it's just simply not good enough.
Yeah, this is it. It's do or die time for this blue Protoss player in the top left of Sejong Station, representing Team Liquid and hailing from Korea. He is HerO.
And over here in the right bottom side of the map, we are looking at the red Zerg player's base. He's been having a fantastic summer, and he wants to extend this summer a little longer. It is viOlet.
HerO, pylon on the low ground, no fast scout this time. But man, this, how can you say that? Good summer for viOlet. Summer's ending really soon. You think viOlet and Tasia like wreck their groups, and then all of a sudden it's just.
I think they
like
should
that?
just both move to Hawaii and be like, hey, it's summer all year long. Our rain will never
Isn't
stop.
it? Yeah. It goes like the opposite way, right? These go play.
Yeah.
They go play from below
Okay,
the
so
equator.
when the
next.
summer ends here, then he can just go to Brazil or something.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a brilliant strategy.
Forts on the low ground for HerO, who would love to cannon hedge first from viOlet, but viOlet is going to scout, and viOlet will not do that, as we see the spawning pool is already going down in the back of his mineral line. But this is not the end for HerO, you know, as long as you keep your opponent in check. I don't think viOlet wants to do this, not with the Forge and the Pylon being in range of that hatchery. Of course, the biggest difference between Nimbus and Sejong is that the first Pylon would be in range of that hatch if viOlet would decide to go for a hatch block, so that's why I think it's a little less likely. I don't really understand this, because this is not supposed to work against the spawning pool first opening, so I'd be very shocked if HerO lets that Pylon finish up.
It seems the way that he kind of like, he was really matter-of-factly about how he put that pylon down, though.
Yeah, he's gonna do it. Wow.
He seems pissed. Like he is just like, no man. He's like, no, this has just been too much. He's pulling out all the stops.
Still though, this kind of stuff is often very expensive. We'll see. The Zerglings are on the way already. Even if one cannon finishes up, I think viOlet can still cancel that eventually, but he has to start working on his additional cannons immediately. And actually, it seems like viOlet has accepted that these pylons when these cannons will finish up, and he's going to sacrifice this hatchery. Interesting.
Yeah. He's sending the Zerglings across the map about to put some pressure on, and HerO will let both cannons finish up.
Good placement on that one cannon that's stuck between those two mineral patches.
That's dirty.
Yeah, I love it.
The hatchery will just be taken in the third base area for viOlet instead, and HerO, his probe does a little bit of scouting. So what is viOlet's response? I think in a general scenario we can all accept that Protoss is usually pretty good
He's
about
going to try to run
walls.
these Zerglings by night. That's the first thing.
Slips in.
Yep, will succeed in doing so. All of the Zerglings are still alive as well. This is really frustrating.
Oh,
Zerglings actually
in
start
range.
working on the Nexus.
Oh God! Probes have to come off the mineral line. Well, this isn't a fun position to be in.
That backfired very, very quickly. That's not enough probes either. HerO needs a few more. So above all, HerO is losing so much mining time now. Tables are turned. Now suddenly the Protoss is forced to keep his workers in the natural.
Here we go, Kev. More photon cannons. Well, Zerglings are already prepared, so that's nice.
This is really frustrating as a Protoss, though.
So far.
It's so expensive for HerO to do what he just did. Keep all those probes at the low ground. Gateway is about to finish up. I still think he has to worry about this. These Zerglings are pushing out quite a bit of damage, so once more a couple of probes will make their way downtown. and start just distracting these Zerglings. As long as they don't work on the Nexus, it's a good scenario, and now you can actually start mining off this Nexus immediately.
I think losing this Nexus, like this, you're reaching like a game-ending scenarios, right? At that point.
He won't lose the Nexus, but viOlet definitely. He was a little bit behind after that cannon going up and him being forced to cancel his natural. That's a good surround on the Zealot. Again, the probes are forced to help out.
It's really nice. It's a really nice pick-off. The last thing HerO wants to do is build things that aren't probes. Now the probes do manage to tase out those Zerglings.
So we're looking at 26 workers now against 23. That's relatively close. I don't think that's all that fantastic. There's an extractor on the way, or actually extractor mining up and running for viOlet. So Zergling speed will be able to be researched way on time, around the same time as warp gate technology is going to start. So I personally, I've been in this position that HerO is in. I do like this. Like, he's still being annoying, still blocking hatcheries. And if viOlet would just be able to go up to 3 bases at different locations, you're going to fall behind quite far economically after all as a Protoss. And now it's a little bit more frustrating, because now viOlet's third hatch is going to be even later, which means even less larvae to work with. So that pylon placement that HerO just got down is extremely important.
Yeah, this is very frustrating, I have to imagine, for the Zerg player to deal with. The supply looks fine, but HerO has like his nice, comfortable 2-base setup. He's getting his robo facility, taking 2 additional gases. Does he just go into an Immortal play, or is he going to try to just grind this one out with the lead?
I have no idea. It's a strange game now. There are not too many times that your cannon rushes are going to play out in this scenario, especially with those Zerglings. Like, if those Zerglings wouldn't have been able to get in, or if they would have done something else, then I think HerO following this up with a very strong 2-base attack makes so much sense. But HerO also got delayed by whatever he wanted to do. He's even adding... where is he adding a cannon?
Yeah, at the bottom of that ramp. He's like, nothing's squeezing down here. You're transferring too many drones through my area.
Yeah, it's strange. It's a strange game. It's very awkward what's going on. Layer is halfway done. There are 3 more gateways on the way for HerO. He's chrono boosting out Warp Gate pretty rapidly, so there is a chance that he will start warping in a few Zealots in the natural. Try to be annoying in that regard, but it seems like viOlet has a few too many Zerglings for that to be a real possibility.
Wow, he is really committed to this cannon rush.
This one cannon will survive, but all the other cannons have fallen. Roach1 is about to finish up as well, and Roaches are a lot more effective against cannons than Zerglings are.
Really?
If you would have hide the player names, Nate, I do not think that this was Liquid HerO playing. I could swear that I tune into Wiedemin's stream.
Yeah, that
does happen very often.
Yeah, it does happen occasionally.
It's like, I'm watching Parting. No, I ended up watching Wiedemin's again, damn it.
Well, Parting wishes if you cannon rush like that.
It's guilty pleasure, man. Eventually, this cannon rush will be shut down at the 10-minute mark. Yes, that is a thing. And viOlet's third hatchery is about to finish up at the 10-minute mark as well. So HerO is following this up now with double Stargate. That is a very interesting transition, to say the least, especially with how this game has played out so far. I'm not sure why. I'm confused, Nate. I'm really confused. He didn't see much in the main base. He didn't see the Roach Warren. I don't think he ever saw. Okay, now he's going to spot these Roaches. I'm
only surprised why he hasn't taken a third yet after all this.
Nah, he couldn't really protect it against Speedlings, though. He didn't have +1 yet, didn't have too many gateway units.
Okay, now he's just doing all the things, and he's really relying on this War Prism to buy him time for that, but his third base should get cancelled before that becomes an issue.
There are only 10 Roaches out on the map now for viOlet, so it could be a little bit tricky to deal with War Prism harassment, but none of the Zealots are being dropped straight on top of the Roaches. At the same time, one of the Queens did get picked off, as you guys could see, but there are a lot of Roaches making their way across the map, and they will try to work on that Nexus, and they will get the cancel. And that is bad news for HerO, because he really wants to keep that base alive.
Yep. Oh, I like this little drop on top of the Queen, trying to snipe it. Not quite there, but...
Yeah, I
Immortal Void Ray. Sick army comp.
It is. When a Pylon gets sniped, it actually will temporarily unpower this forge, which is a little bit frustrating. Means no +1 armor for HerO, at least not in the immediate future. Now, I kind of like viOlet's position when it's all said and done. viOlet is up in workers. I don't really like HerO's stack all that much. It's, robotics facility into double Stargate against Roach Hydra. I don't think that's ideal. Not at
No,
all
I'm
even.
not sure. I'm not sure. I disagree with you, Kev.
Well, if HerO gets time enough to get like 2 Colossus out, an Immortal, and a bunch of force fields, then obviously it is fantastic. But right now, HerO has very, very few units to work with. And it's just a little bit of everything, but nothing is really coming together yet. Maybe in the near future as well. I think it's also very difficult for viOlet to read this game and to read like how far HerO's stack is along, because you know this is such a bizarre game. It's 13 minutes in, but so many strange things have happened. So many ways the economy from both players have been slowed down.
Next episode of these strange things, we have 2 infestation pits on the way for viOlet.
I think that's just a small mistake. I do expect him to start enduring Locust as soon as it's done. It just makes sense. Infestus would be very, very shocking over here. Even though it is double Stargate, but this is not really the phase in the game where you want to rely on Infestus to deal with double Stargate play. I think this is just viOlet doing what he often does, put some pressure on with whatever units he's working with, and then get ready to transition into Swarm Host. As we can see, he starts enduring Locust.
Yep, he's trying to put pressure on this third base while he takes out the rocks in the back, which I do like. He burns out some force fields. The natural area is open, just about. And the army does come back in time. Third base is still getting poked by the roaches.
Those are actually very good force fields for HerO. He's going to get 4 or 5 roaches for free, loses absolutely nothing. Might even get an overseer.
Oh, well, you want to lose your Void Rays. 2 Void Rays. Okay, I think that's definitely worth more than a handful of roaches. He's got his third, which is also pretty nice.
Yeah. I think in a way it worked out well for HerO that viOlet went for Swarm Most. Of course, it's going to be a problem in a later stage in the game, as Swarm Most are difficult to deal with, especially in the hands of an excellent player like viOlet. But I think if viOlet would have gone ham on the Roach Hydra kind of production, it would have been very difficult for HerO to stabilize, as he just didn't have a whole lot of units, and he didn't have a whole lot of units to protect those important units. As strong as Void Rays and Colossus are against Roaches and Hydras, they do need protection. They need some backbone and some support.
Yeah, that's true. The Zealots get dropped in the mineral line. Drones going down left and right. Nice pickoffs. The Queen is here with some Roach backup, but that Warp Prism remains alive and remains an active threat on the map. These Warp Prisms can be so annoying. Oh, I love this. Pulling the army out of position. Is that Mothership Core there for the recall, though, just in case?
There are a lot of force within this army, and there is indeed a Mothership Core trailing. HerO just checking to see if viOlet is on 4 bases. Well, he technically is, but the 4th base is in the middle of the map, which makes it a little bit harder. But good news is that there is no 5th hatchery yet.
Just going to continue to build Swarm Hosts and get Hydralisk speed. Spore Crawler is always nice to have, of course, against the Void Rays. But with the Mothership Core there's always an escape strategy, and the Spore Prism still just will not die.
The sentries are definitely something to worry about for viOlet, because before you know it, your Locusts are zoned away, and suddenly these Colossus and Void Rays and Immortals are going ham on one of your bases, and you can lose a lot of important tech structures, or maybe even a hatchery, maybe a bunch of drones. So viOlet has to be very careful, because right now the Swarm Host count is definitely not balling out of control. And the Roach Hydra army is not big enough. Oh, he will get the Warp Prism now. That's a massive pickup, like you said. That Warp Prism was a really big nuisance.
And the Locust Waves are going to try to push this Colossus Void Ray army back. Killing that Warp Prism, though, is really nice. HerO immediately starts another one, but as long as he can get this army off of his front porch, should be fine. Almost gets the Mothership Core.
Yeah, that was really close. If the Mothership Core would have died, I think HerO had enough there to at least kill that first wave of units, but he would have also lost a bunch of sentries immediately, and that would have been very expensive, because you don't really want to spend your gas on sentries anymore, but you definitely want to keep them alive, as we've seen over the last few months about how useful sentries can still be in this phase in the game while facing Swarm Host.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be able to throw out hallucinations to see if your opponent is making any type of crazy switch, like adding on Mutalisks. And then, of course, keeping track of positioning of things like this, like the Swarm Host, like the Locust Waves. Yeah. Hive is coming in soon, though, and I don't think there's a Templar Archive, so maybe Vipers can have a nice hand in this game soon.
Actually, there is a Templar Archive, and he's already wiping in a bunch of High Templars, but I think he will morph them into Archons immediately like he does. Now Pelagic lands are being researched as well. I think viOlet is suddenly realizing, like, hey, this Protoss army is growing a little quicker than I anticipated. And yes, I have Swarm Hosts, but 13, 16 Swarm Hosts is often not enough. So now we see, oh, what is HerO doing there? He recalls half his army out. There is a small counterattack in the natural that's still doing damage. It's getting scrappy. This is a really, really good counterattack for viOlet. Excellent counter.
He picked off the Colossus, a couple Void Rays. Really nice grabs here for viOlet. And this army, it's killing Locusts.
Yeah, and this allowed the Swarmos to do enough damage to push his army back and allowed additional Swarmos to spawn. Fantastic counterattack there by viOlet. Very important, because if that entire army of HerO was knocking on that fourth base, I don't think that 13 Swarmos were going to cut it. So it was really important that viOlet bought some time for himself, because now the Hive is done and he can start, you know, adding in the Viper or two.
Yep, a couple of these other units getting picked off.
The War Prism got picked off in the main again. No units were inside, so not a super expensive loss, but an unfortunate one for HerO, because he would have loved to be able to wipe in a bunch of Zealots once more. At the same time, he is bleeding out the units here and there. The first Vipers are on the production tab. Of course, HerO is on 4 bases, which is good. It's very important, because he's going to be spending a lot of gas on Void Rays, Colossus, and High Templar, so you need that 7 and 8 extractor. This game can truly go either way. I still kind of like viOlet's position, just because I know he's so incredibly experienced with Swarmos in this phase in the game. Spire being added as well, 2 Spires even. I think viOlet has to be a tiny bit careful, because he's not been super rich. Like, he's been on 4 bases for, you know, a reasonable amount of time, but if you take a look at his gas bank, it's only 500-600 now. He really needs to get that 5th base up and running before he starts going crazy on double Spire, double upgrades and stuff like that.
Yeah, like these stalkers have found the field of spore crawlers, covering these locusts.
I love how the Spore has replaced the Spine when it comes to static defense.
No,
It's good against Void Rays, good against Colossus.
no, the swarm host deals quite well as the moving spine crawler itself. Double Spire though, man. The upgrades for the potential switch later on are definitely going to have a huge hand in this game. HerO doesn't really have much of a bank just yet, so these plays he's making are nice, but he can't afford to take any bad trades. Fleet Beacon is on the way now too.
And he's definitely not breaking viOlet anywhere. Like, the damage that HerO has been doing over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes in this game has not been spiraling out of control. It's not like viOlet has been losing 10, 15 drones here and there, has been running around with his roaches and hydras, just barely stabilizing, hatcheries taking a lot of damage. No, it was none of that. viOlet has actually been doing a really good job in not taking too much damage. Perhaps this Zealot runback can change things for HerO and can start making things snowball a little bit, because he needs to start catching a break. Getting this evolution chamber would be a nice start.
Yeah, going for this hatchery instead though. Oh, some of these Hydralisks do get caught out by the Void Ray Colossus ball. And viOlet immediately goes right back into Roach production, but that base was sniped as the Zealots do get cleaned up. Of course, the +3 attack upgrade, very important. That will finish up.
I like this move by HerO. There are not a whole lot of Swarmos over here. There are a few Spore Crawlers, but hopefully the Stalkers and Colossus can take care of it. viOlet has to be very careful with his Vipers. You can't bring those too close, because feedbacks will kill them immediately. But it seems like enough Locusts have spawned to save the day. There were 29 Roaches or something on the production tab as well, so all those Roaches are here too now. I mean, there's a single Immortal, but there are still those Void Rays that are extremely good against the Roaches as well.
Yeah, running up, grabbing those feedbacks. 1 Viper does get feedbacked. And 2 Tempests on the way, as 2 more Vipers start up. And the Tempest could get a lot done. There's a Sentry here, both picked off without being able to cast any force fields. I'd love to see viOlet try to run in and pick off some key tech, but this is still,
That's a Colossus. Might even be a second one. Now he's just going to run back immediately. Well done there by viOlet, forcing out the recall, taking off a little bit of that pressure. He did end up losing 1 more base though, over here on the left bottom side of the map. HerO is definitely finding openings now, finding small opportunities here and there to be annoying with his Zealots and start, you know, just throwing away those minerals, but not for nothing. He's definitely getting some stuff done. And it is really important that he slows down the economy of viOlet, so he doesn't have to worry about like a 35 Mutalisk switch later on. He's going to get 1 more hatchery. HerO has killed like 4 hatcheries in the last 4 minutes of this game. That is very well done. Ooh, losing a lot of expensive units in the middle of the map though.
Yeah, those Locusts are getting some work done. Now he should know. Okay, there's Tempests on the map. That's a big problem. The anti-air force for viOlet. What does he really have? I know he's had those Spires, but did he ever actually get the upgrades? Does he have anything set up?
War Prism gets sniped. He has Spore Crawlers, Nate, and that's pretty much all that he needs to be safe. He can just abduct those Void Rays or Tempest into range of the Spores, and you know, Tempests are annoying, they tickle, but they won't kill you, at least not in low numbers. Maybe if the Tempest goes higher, then it's something that he truly has to worry about. Now I think he still has to worry more about those other units, make sure that he doesn't lose too many buildings or important tech structures. Oh, that's a good blink. I love that blink. 2 Vipers get picked off immediately. Well done. Those are expensive units, and look at viOlet's bank. It's not massive. HerO has been doing a really good job in slowing viOlet down. Finally, for the first time today, HerO finds himself in a position where he can be Liquid HerO.
Yeah, I mean, he can start making all the finesse moves that HerO is wont to do. The more Prism plays everywhere, the Zealot run by on the left side of the map, and just taking bases and kicking names, I have to say. This has been a really difficult game for viOlet the longer this has gone on.
Love this big Zealot weapon in the main base as well. One of these spires is pretty exposed. Actually, both spires are exposed. There are a lot of roaches over here that are going to try to save the day, and they will force a couple of these Zealots to back away, and a few others will fall. But at the same time, HerO is clearing out creep in the middle of the map, and every Protoss is going to tell you how important it is to take care of creep spread. Vipers come forward, will abduct a bunch of Colossus, but won't kill them. That's a very good sign as a Protoss. Once you get abducted and you won't lose your units immediately, often you're doing things right in the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, this army is so difficult to kill. Spire gets killed. Second Spire is going to be targeted down now. So no upgrades for the Flyers in this game.
I think second Spire will live.
Oh, just barely.
It's going to be really close, but it will live. 44 HP. Of course, HerO could come back. He warped in 4 Dark Templars. He's going to pick off 1 more hatchery. He's going full pult on this game.
Yeah,
but it's like, no, I'm already trading too much with that guy. Don't remind me.
He's sniping a lot of bases. Mothership on the way. More Dark Templar moving in for HerO.
Beautiful play by HerO. This is finally Liquid HerO. I felt like we had to wait 4 games for it, but this is the HerO that we know, the HerO that we have came to love over the last few years. The HerO that even won the Intel Extreme Masters earlier this year, even though he was mostly beating Terrans back then. But we know how good he can play if he just makes it to a certain phase in this game. And viOlet is a very, very experienced Swarmos player. So what HerO is doing here is absolutely not easy.
No, this is really impressive, just the way that he's able to consistently move his army around to defend while simultaneously just harassing everywhere at once, hitting all the bases of viOlet, and suddenly viOlet's back on that core 4 bases. These Corruptors move forward. He's trying to pick off all the Colossi. He's trying to pick up everything else. There's really not a lot of anti-air with this army aside from those storms, so now that the Templar are running out of energy, yeah, he's going to kill a lot of this. Does cancel that Mothership.
Which is big as well, because it was like 70% done, I believe. It was morphing for a while. So that was a very good counter by viOlet. Takes away a little bit of the pressure, but at the same time, there are still Dark Templars and Zealots going ham on the south side of this map. Look at these 2 Hydralisk Den, both being close to each other. Like, I like the idea of a backup Hydralisk Den, but if you build them next to each other, I don't think it makes too much sense.
No, don't store your copies with the original. It defeats the purpose. This Nexus is done in the center of the map, so the Locust should eventually be able to kill this. I just don't see a way that viOlet gets the money to do much more than play around with this Swarm Host.
There is one thing that is very dangerous. If we take a look at the unit loss resource tab, we can see that HerO has already lost more resources than viOlet has. HerO has also been mining completely uncontested of his 4 bases for the last 12 minutes in this game, while viOlet hasn't. So HerO has been mining more money, but has also been losing more resources. viOlet, if he just retakes the bases that he has lost, he will eventually have more resources to work with, and that is something that is sometimes overlooked when you deal with the Swammo style. Well, he's picking up 1 more base. This is fantastic. This is awesome. But HerO has to be a tiny bit careful that he doesn't find himself in a position soon where he won't be able to take additional bases anymore, and he won't have the amount of gas units that he needs to deal with this Swarmos play. Because like we said, viOlet is a really, really experienced Swarmos player, and he doesn't panic quickly. No matter how many bases he loses, he is able to hang in there like a champ. Like, these are, those are really, really expensive losses for HerO.
Yeah, this is... I'm really having a hard time reading the game situation here, because viOlet's army is... it's very energy efficient as far as resources go, because he's got Swarm Hosts.
Yep.
And he has Queens.
That Corruptor fight was massive, where he was able to pick off 2-3 Colossus, baited out all these storms, took out 2 Tempests as well. That was so huge, because that made it impossible for HerO to ever break the high Swarmos count. Even though he's trying, but you can see Stalkers, they are no match for Locust. They know it, that's why they run away. And also cancelling that Mothership delayed the potential push from HerO. A couple of Phoenixes are getting picked off as well in the middle of the map. Maybe get a Corruptor or 2, but look at the army supply of viOlet. It's 137, and HerO is now only with 300 gas in the bank. He has to be careful, Nate. He's been wiping in a crazy amount of Dark Templars. I wish we could see how many have died, but we can't. But I bet you it's over 15 or something, and that's really expensive gas-wise.
Yeah, he's This game has been it's been really brutal as far as the harassing units go. At some point, it feels like HerO, instead of his army getting a lot stronger, he just spent so much gas and resources harassing that it's just his main force is much weaker than you would think, given how well he's been playing this game.
Yep, and viOlet still has a lot of resources left in his natural, so he can comfortably mine off that base. And if he's able to secure this base again, like this base that we were just looking at is the key base for viOlet. If he's able to secure that, I think HerO is going to have a very, very difficult time ever breaking viOlet. His mothership did finish though, so he has that going for himself, which is nice, unless it gets abducted and dies immediately.
Yeah, well, there's the abduct. And does it die immediately? It's looking like it. Does a couple of hop skips. And it does. Well, Roddy,
well,
you called that one perfectly.
He had it going for himself. viOlet's still at 183 army supply. His drone count is at 46, but that's kind of fine because he has most of the upgrades that he wants. He has most of the infrastructure that he wants. He doesn't really need 60, 65, 70 drones anymore. He has a lot of static defenses already as well, or a lot. He has 13 sport crawlers, which I think is difficult enough for HerO to break. He is going to try though, as not all of the sports are over here. I'm not sure where the locusts are, but most of the locusts died in the previous wave. This could be very expensive. A lot of these swarmos are dying, but how many units of HerO will die over here?
No, the Colossi and Voider is still alive. It's actually not looking too bad. HerO seems to have finally cracked viOlet.
viOlet has a lot of money. He's just like, he has to make up his mind.
Where'd my spires go, man? He starts up another one. I don't know if there's any switch that he can make at this point. The Roach counterattack is great, but how does he kill this army?
He has Roach Warrens and he has Infestation Pits, so he can decide whatever he wants to make. He's going for 7 Swarmos, and that is like a calculated number. viOlet seems to think that with 7 additional Swarmos, he has enough to survive. He has Larva as well, so viOlet is on purposely not spending his money now. He thinks 7 additional Swarmos is enough to survive, and that will still allow him eventually to switch into a lot of Midlist. He's getting a couple of High Templars there, which is massive, or at least he got one. I think viOlet underestimated the strength of this Protoss army. I think he needed more.
Yeah, it seemed like waiting to spend that bank has really worked against him, and now he's going to build Corruptors. His Spire is done, but is it too late? All these defensive Dark Templar.
Is it too late? There is not that much anti-air anymore. There are 3 Void Rays, but Prismatic Alignment is going to be on cooldown. There's still a few Spore Crawlers, so it seems like viOlet estimated that very, very nicely. And going for 7 Swarmos seemed to be just the right amount of units to just not die. A problem for viOlet is that he doesn't really have a mining base anymore, other than his natural. Then again, HerO's also only mining of just 1 base properly, basically.
Yep, this top right base is
what
going
a great game.
Cleaned up. Roaches are all over everything. Leaves a couple roaches buried. It's like, okay, now I'm going to go harass another base and just pull you around all day.
This one is still really hard to call, but viOlet is... I mean, I really do love his Swarmos play. I would hate to play against it. We've seen so many great games of Hawk against viOlet over the last, let's say, 4 to 6 months, as both of those two guys have had a lot of vectors. And now we see HerO finally having a real game, because I felt those first 3 games was just all unfortunate, unlucky. This is as straight up as it's going to get. He definitely was in a position where he could win the game. It all comes down to decision making now.
Oh man, these Dark Templar. He really needs to just lock down another base or 2. Like if viOlet can lock this base down like you've been saying.
Man, that was a very good High Templar. That base was so important.
Oh my goodness. The denial on the bases has been very real, Roddy.
Yep. Man, that cannon rush really backfired, because if those cannon rushes early on wouldn't have been successful, viOlet would have been not mining now already for a solid 20 minutes, but now he's still mining of his natural at the 38-minute mark. Needless to say, slightly unusual.
Yeah, I mean, HerO's got 2 full mining bases now, and I think this is where the economy tips scales heavily in his favor. I really...
It's still only 4 assimilators though, Nate. Like, I know that it looks big, but for assimilators, you're still going to have to be very, very careful what you decide to spend your gas on. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't think that it's, like, over by any means. I still definitely believe in the chances of viOlet. As HerO right now, his army, he has 4 Colossus, which is nice. Actually, he has 6 Voiders as well. HerO's army indeed definitely looks strong. And most of the static defenses have died as well. Only 6 Spore Crawlers of the initial 13 remain. So it looks like HerO has taken control of this game, and if he gets that base in the middle of the map running as well, things are definitely looking promising for him. And one of the best things right now is that there are no Vipers on the map. Oh, actually, there are 4 Vipers on the map. Excuse me. I lied.
Well, that's a big,
Makes a big difference.
Those are some playmakers for sure. And the Vipers are going to step up. Abducting Void Rays, okay. Void Rays not bad.
Corruptor count not that high anymore, though, Nate. 10 Corruptors. I really think Violet needs more. He's going to have a couple of Swarmos helping out now as well. And Locust. What are the Corruptors focusing on? A little bit of everything. Colossus are falling.
Only a single Colossus left. But a lot of the support callers have actually been taken down, so these Void Rays are all of a sudden getting up in the mix again.
I don't like that fight for HerO, even though Void Rays are good, but without Prismatic Alignment, they seem to be losing this fight against the Corruptors. He does have a slightly better economy, so you could say that these traits are okay for him. See that leash range, Nate?
Yeah, man.
What are you talking about?
I've been telling you, man.
Yeah,
that leash range on these Void Rays. They take a dog out for a walk. That dog does not get away.
Violet desperately needs that base on the left bottom side of the map, but HerO is here once more to deny this base, and that is a crucial base for Violet, because now HerO is able to replace those Void Rays and Colossus that he just lost, but Violet is not able to replace those Corruptors anymore. He's only long distance mining, or mining of like 2 mineral patches in his initial natural, I guess we can call it. 200 minerals a minute against 1300. That's when you know often you're in trouble. That's a great game of StarCraft. HerO played very well. Violet definitely hang in there like a champ, but the most important thing is that HerO constantly denied that 5th base of Violet, which made all the difference.
Yeah, this, I mean, at this point, I'd like to just see a counter of how many hatcheries have died or been canceled at that bottom left base.
I'm sure there is someone on Reddit who already knows, Nate.
Yeah.
There's always that one guy.
That guy, some guy in Twitch
I can't
chat.
believe Nathan Roddy did not know that 12.5 hatcheries were cancelled in that game.
Accumulating a total resource value of 1750.
It's a good counter over here by HerO as well. He's been very active with his units throughout the entire game. It's awesome to see HerO finally play in a way that we know that he's capable of playing. And Violet put up a really good fight, but I think this is going to get very difficult. He's going to start a few Infestors. That's always the unit that, if a Zerg has no more income, it's like, well, I still got gas, so I guess I can make a bunch of Infestors and see where that takes me.
Yeah, a couple of these Infestors are going to spawn right next to the Stalkers. And at this point, yeah, blinks up, kills one. It's like, yeah, okay, you funkled me. Cool. Locust actually kill a few Stalkers, but I just think HerO has too much economy at this point.
Yep.
Violet was struggling. He has finally completed a hatchery at the bottom left base, and now this small army might even just be enough to kill him.
Excellent game by HerO. Very, very active game by him. Great War Prism harassment. Great mobility of these Blink Stalkers. You know, just being everywhere, denying bases, constantly harassing. It took a while until he was finally able to take damage or do serious damage with his run-bys and his War Prisms. But eventually, once it started, it just never stopped. That's a reasonable fungal, but it's not going to change anything as GG is called, and HerO will finally win a map against Violet after losing 3 consecutive maps. And now is also just 1 map win away, Nate, from qualifying for the run of 8.
Yeah, HerO, he's showing his fighting spirit here today in WCS America Premier League round of 16.
And now our final map is going to be played on Catalina, correct? Because he vetoed Overgrowth.
I think so, yeah.
And I think Violet vetoed Merry-Go-Round, so it must be on Catalina. Which is an interesting map, especially because we don't see it super often in PvZ. And to see such an important series being decided on Catalina, like, this is BlizzCon on the line for both these guys. They still have a very realistic shot at making it to BlizzCon. They're basically 1 map and 1 best of 5 away from qualifying to BlizzCon. And that is very doable for both of these. Excellent players.
Violet's breaking out his guns for this last match. This last map, man.
Remember when once upon a time for MMA it worked the other way around. If he didn't have his Slayer's jacket on, then he wasn't playing on full strength. But when things got serious, he put that blue jacket on, and MMA turned into an unstoppable force.
A true force to be reckoned with, right?
The bracket. You don't mess with a Slayer's bracket.
No, you do not. Oh man, that was quite a long game. So the players are going to take just a couple of minutes to get themselves prepared for map number 3.
Yeah, of course, such a big series, such a big game for both of them, especially after a long map like that. It's very good to just recollect your thoughts and forget about everything. Because the last thing you want is to forget about something that's happened earlier or in one of the series or some of the research that you have done about these players going into this group and then suddenly forgetting about it. And that's definitely not something that you want to see happen in the
No.
most important game. In a weird way, you could even say of the year for both of these two, because the win here is so massive.
Yeah, the WCS points on the line are pretty much gold for both of these guys. Moving on, if they really want to make it to BlizzCon, it's super important as they've both been on the edge for a very long time, very close. Um,
I do think, like we were talking about momentum a little bit in that previous game, and I think finally now HerO has some momentum going for himself. I think even after the victory against Igus, that's not really a victory that I think he took a whole lot of momentum away from, because he knew that he was in trouble in game number 1. He was on the ropes. Bouncing back from that is awesome, but you're going to ask yourself, like, why did I even get in so much trouble in the first place? And then in game number 2, he went for that proxy gate, which, yeah, it's a cheeky victory and it's nice and it might, you know, make you feel a little good, but you also know it's not what is going to bring you to the next round. And then the first series of this game, or the first map of this final series of the day, just things not going his way either on Nimbus. But now on King Sejong, finally, I felt like we saw Liquid HerO become Liquid HerO, and it was beautiful, Nate.
and of course, it all started with a Liquid Hero Cannon Rush, which I
Yeah,
think
that was
it's about as fitting as you really get.
That was unusual, because we just don't see that super often when you know that your opponent is going spawning pool before hatchery to still decide to go all out and cannon that hatch. I definitely think the Zergling counter for viOlet made things pretty okay for him. HerO then blocking that third base in the middle of the map, which would have normally been like the fourth or even the fifth base, but that center location with that pylon, that was really crucial, because that could have allowed viOlet to get that hatchery up and running like a solid minute quicker than he actually did. And a minute in StarCraft 2 and saturating bases like that can definitely change the entire landscape of the game.
Yeah, I think that he tried to anchor a lot into that, and I would say it seemed a bit excessive, the additional cannons that he tried to build there, but it just, I mean, obviously he knows something that we don't about how you can set up against those builds, because the positioning of the cannon was gorgeous. And as you said, as uncommon as it is to see cannon rush strategies against players that open up with a spawning pool, because when you have fast Zerglings, you're like, yeah, cannon shouldn't be able to finish in time. HerO, he knows, he must have done it against enough pool first openers to know that it's doable.
Of course, it's not something that you're just going to do for the sake of trying it, unless he was on full life tilt. Because lately we've been talking about this several times during the day. HerO has not been really in his rhythm against Zerg. He lost 6 out of his last 7 best of 3s. That is unheard for a player like HerO. I don't think that has ever happened in his career, that he lost such a high percentage of series against a specific race. Even though in a while he was struggling in PvP and he lost quite a few of them, but he's still always able to pick up a couple of wins here and there. But maybe that last game gave him some confidence again, because we were talking about this. Like, if HerO gets to a certain stage in the game, we know that he's still really good. It's just sometimes things get too complicated for him, or he tries to do a few too many things at once before he's able to stabilize. But if he's stabilizing, if he's mining on 4 bases, a lot of pros players are scary on 4 bases. I'm not going to deny that, but HerO, I think, is particularly scary.
Yeah, like you said, he busted all the finesse plays. We see the War Prisms flying around every which way. Something like 8 Dark Templar on the map at once, harassing multiple bases while the army dances around, clears creep, comes home to defend against the roach attacks. That's just the high level of play that we expect from HerO, and we didn't get to see a lot of it today. But that last map, you said it, Roddy, that's about as HerO of a game as you're going to get.
And now our final map, a super important map for both of these fantastic players. Saying that like 2014 has been a disappointing year for HerO sounds weird when he won the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne, but he won that in February, I believe it was, or maybe even January, but I think it was February back then. So it feels so long ago, and ever since then, just nothing has really been going HerO's way. He lost in the round of 32 of Season 1 in WCS America. He lost in the round of 32 again last season, and this time he finally made it to the round of 16, and it would also be, I think, very ironic in a way that HerO, of course, he was the very first champion of WCS America in 2013 Season 1. If he would close WCS America era out with another victory, winning the first and winning the last.
Yeah, he's got a big reputation to live up to. Our blue Protoss player in the top right position. The final map of the day, He is Liquid's HerO.
And over here on the right bottom side of Catalina, we have our Zerg, who's coming off an excellent summer. Give it up for viOlet.
Oh, man. This has been a really, really crazy matchup. Not just a series, because they did play at the start of the day as well. And we saw some craziness out of viOlet. Busted out some builds, trying to play a little bit inside of HerO's head, and it worked out. I mean, it worked to kick things off, but HerO seems to have solidified himself a little bit more, and also getting comfortable again, throwing some daggers back.
Yep, I'm so curious to see how HerO is going to play out this game. He's going to switch things up. It is Pylon in his main and also a gateway in his main base, so it's going to be a one-gate fast expand, unless he pulls out the build that we casted once on Catalina, which was the Immortal Sentry all-in on one base.
Oh, God.
that was a great game, Nate. That was one of the most fun games. Was in the Le Tot satellite qualifier for Red Bull Battlegrounds Detroit.
That was a fun time. That game was
that was Nate's night.
That game was mind melting, to say the least.
Yes, it
I
was.
had no idea what was going on in that game.
I don't think we are going to see that. I'm expecting a regular one-gate fast expand from HerO. viOlet is going hedge first, so he's also taking a small risk, especially because HerO has shown that he's kind of digging his cannon rushes today, but he's not going for it this time, and that's going to work out well for viOlet.
Yeah.
He's even going double hedge before pull. Wow, that's very ballsy.
Damn.
Especially because he didn't even scout HerO yet. He has no idea what HerO is potentially throwing at him. But this works out well for viOlet again. Like, even though one gate fast expand, what HerO can do is just still go for an expand and then try to put on some gateway pressure, especially if viOlet is going to play as greedy as he did on Nimbus. And if he does that, I would really love to see HerO just skip like whatever he had in mind, even if he wanted to play Stargate or Robo, and just put on some 4 gateway pressure of 2 bases, because that was insane what viOlet was able to get away with. But this time we do see the extractor go down in the main base for viOlet, so that is going to make things already very different than what we saw in the first game of this series.
So against an opening like this, typically the most aggressive plays that I see out of a gas like this, is he just gonna go for a fast speedling attack, you think?
No, it's a safety. It's if you don't take the gas, then you're very susceptible to gateway pressure, and viOlet knows that. So it's so important that HerO scouts this as well, because if HerO would have blindly gone for a 4 gateway pressure, like I just mentioned, it would have backfired, because the circling speed from viOlet and that extractor already being up would have allowed him to be able to shut it down. And now that is not going to be the case. I don't think that HerO is going to go for gateway pressure, because why do you want to do that against a speedling opening? It's risky. And of course, Nate, there is a small chance that what you were leaning towards, that viOlet goes absolutely ham on a big circling attack, but I would be very shocked to see him do that.
Yeah.
He's starting those first 6 circlings very, very early. And 6 is, I think, one more than I expected. Is he really going to go make nothing but circlings? I would be shocked.
Anything could happen, Kev. Queens are finishing up. We're going to see the injects. Okay, some drones. You could still get the Zergling madness.
Yeah, but I think it would be, it's almost suicide. There's sentry on the way, there are 2 gateways going down as part of the ramp. I really don't think that would be a smart decision.
What's he going to hide up here? Dark Shrine, or?
I have no idea. I think hiding your Twilight Council there is very risky.
Nope, he's going to hide his Twilight Council there as the Overlord comes in to scout.
The reason why I say that it's risky is because if it gets found, you won't just lose your potential Dark Shrine, which I think is what he's going for, but you're also going to lose your Twilight Council, which means you're going to have to rebuild it.
Checking around the bottom left area of the map. He's got some headed towards the right side. I mean, if he were to scope out all of these bases, he could find it.
viOlet is a little bit paranoid now. He's making more Zerglings, and I don't think that's to attack, but he didn't see anything. And if you don't see anything, you're often worried. You have no idea where those gateways are tucked away, but before you know it, instead of the 3 gateways that you expect, suddenly it turns into 7 or 8 gateways. A Dark Shrine is being warped in. There is one happy little Han Solo Zergling on the left top side of this map. If he finds it, Christopher Columbus, this is your true calling. Find the Dark Shrine.
And he could be a hero for the Zerg player here, as he cannot break that front wall, because you said it, gateways, sentry, And a big bully stalker to cover
Oh,
the front.
Zergling is moving again on the left top side of the map. He's getting
He's
closer
so
and closer.
Close.
Not close
Oh,
enough.
no.
You know, it wouldn't even be bad if the Darkshrine finishes, because Violett already has 2 Spore Crawlers. Then he's just going to pay attention and let HerO waste his resources on Dark Templars, and then he's going to shut it down. Oh, there's a Warp Prism on the way as well, Nate. This is sort of like Arium's build, just a more complicated version of it. Is Violett going to check the final? No, he's not going to check it yet.
Oh my goodness. There's only 2 bases he hasn't checked.
There is a Spore in the main, though. That's good news. There's a Spore in the natural. Actually, there's a Spore in every base. But of course, the Zerglings are out of production.
I mean, we've seen what HerO can do at DTs either way, Kev, at this point.
Yep.
One Spore. Well, the one, if he puts 2 DTs, the Queen won't be able to kill them in time.
I checked the vision of Violett, and that Zergling did not spot the Warp Prism. So Violett is still completely unaware of the fact that there is a Warp Prism out on the map. And there are no Overlords in range of the right side either. So if these 3 Dark Templars are able to snipe this Spore Crawl in the main base, it is going to be devastating. There are 9 Roaches in production. That is great timing for Violett, because these Roaches are going to help out a lot against this potential Warp Prism madness.
Yep. Okay, the drones managed to surround one of the Dark Templar, which is nice, but that Spore Crawler will fall. And even though the lair is done, he still needs to wait for the Overseer to finish morphing.
Yeah, it's definitely not as bad for Violett as it could have been. He's going to lose. No, he's not going to lose the Queen. Good movement there. Overseer is about to finish up. He will still lose the Queen. But, okay, HerO is going to do a phenomenal job in saving those Dark Templars. And that actually changes everything.
He's just cranking out drones.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm not concerned. But you know what Violett will think? Violet's going to think HerO's stuck on 2 bases and that this is going to be some sort of follow-up all-in when he's got a Nexus building in the top left corner of the map.
Okay, now it actually, you know, I guess then it's not too risky anymore to proxy a Twilight as well if you're just going to turn it into a base
Just
eventually.
build your base at the proxy.
Yep. Nothing wrong with that. Violett is still running around. He has checked pretty much every single spot other than the one where an entire fort is going down.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
Behind this, HerO is once more dropping 2 Stargates. I think it's just, you know, it's just something that HerO loves. He knows that 2 Stargates are going to buy him time and is going to drag this game out. And HerO loves games that last long. HerO just loves finding himself in positions where, you know, like we said before, he can be a Liquid HerO where he can just throw away units left and right, but for the greater good and actually do economic damage and outplay his opponent. He's just not the type of Protoss that sits back and relies on the timing. Once in a while it works out for him, but it's never been HerO.
Yeah, these Roach-Link forces have been dancing around the map. But he
Yeah.
like, sees this and he's like, well, there's not much I can really do.
Violett is going to finally find this base though on the left top side of the map. Christopher, the Zergling. Like, oh.
He's like, what is going on here?
Immediately, like in the middle, I was like,
Send everything.
turn to the left. Sharp left, sharp left. There are 2 Void Rays making their way to the left top side of the map as well. And these Void Rays could potentially snipe Overseers, which makes it impossible for Zerglings and Roaches to shut down that base, because there is nothing that's going to kill the Void Rays, and then there is nothing to detect those Dark Templars. So that base is safe for now. It's actually, man, HerO's strat comes together pretty nicely when it all works out like this.
Yeah, what a gnarly game. He's got his Hive on the way, Violett.
Yeah.
HerO. He pulled that whole army back with his DT drop harass. Like, he's actually using his Dark Templar with his Observer to kill the creep tumors. This is almost too smooth.
Yep. Picked off 1 or 2 Swarmers in the middle of the map as well with his Dark Templars. These Roaches won't mount too much. Actually, we'll be able to intercept a couple of these probes, so that's kind of nice. Zergling counterattack in the natural, that's impossible. Violett is going up to a Hive pretty quick. His Hive is more than halfway done. I think Violett is going to go absolutely ham on a Roach Hydra Viper attack. This is a map where I think it's very, very hard to make Swarmos work. Like, if you got, in a way, if you got outplayed on King Sejong Station with your Swarmos style, then it's almost impossible not to, you know, share the same fate on Catalina, because this map is a lot larger, has a lot more space for Warp Prisms, Proxy Pylons and stuff like that. And if Swarmos ever want to be aggressive, it just takes so much longer for them to actually wiggle their way across the map. He started Enduring Locust, right, in this game, and I think now he cancelled it. Unless he never started it, and I'm wrong, but
No, I think I saw him.
Yep.
Try to research it.
So I think I was right when it just comes to one very, very big Roach Hydra Viper attack, which could work, especially if there are no High Templars out. HerO is spending his money all over the place.
Yeah, viOlet still managed to build the Doom army despite
Body ship core could get sniped over here. Force fields are going down.
Need that recall. Mothership core is taking some heat. All the shields are gone. Time warp thrown. Army's surrounded. Hydra's not in range of it though. Cade stepping forward once again, and well, that's
these force fields were absolutely phenomenal. Those Immortals pushed out so much damage. HerO's doing a really good job in reading this battle. Now he will recall out. I think that went.
Oh, the attacks are real.
Yep. That went actually very good for HerO. He didn't recall out immediately. He dropped great force fields, killed so many units, and then recalled out when he was finally starting to lose the battle. At the same time, he's still harassing in the main base. This counterattack from viOlet in the left side of the map should just not be able to do that much because there are no overseers over here. So Dark Templars are going to be very, very frustrating.
Yep, the DTs haven't worked in, hacking and slashing on these roaches.
It is going to be enough, though.
Yeah, the probes are going to have to evacuate, but he will clean up that army eventually. And now the Stalkers, he's even got DTs in here. It's like, yep, okay, Stalkers can kill the Overseers, Dark Templar kill everything else.
It's so important that viOlet has 2 spines and a spore over here. I've never saw him make those, but it makes so much sense against this very heavy Warp Prism harassment from HerO that has been happening throughout the last 2 games. There are Vipers in the mix as well. I think HerO pretty much knows what time it is. Losing that 3rd base, losing that 5th and 6th extractor is very painful. Oh, that's a great abduct.
Oh, he got the Warp Prism. Nice grab. 4 Stalkers
in it as well.
Damn.
11 drones on the way for viOlet, and I think after those drones, it's again going to be nothing but units.
Okay, this, man, this game, pneumaticized.
I'm not sure. Like, as long as there are no High Templars, I definitely favor violet's position. But if HerO can get out just 3 or 4 High Templars... Man, I'm just thinking about that
last fight. Hydralisk range just started. Imagine if it was done when he had that surround on HerO's army.
I did not even know that.
I was wondering, like, why didn't those Hydras kill the Mothership core?
Since when are Hydras bad against Immortal Stalker?
It's like, this isn't Wings of Liberty. They're supposed to be good units.
So Hydra range indeed on the way now. Definitely a mistake for viOlet, something that he definitely wanted to get a lot quicker. He doesn't have Hydra speed either. Which in a 17-minute game, even though it's been a little crazy game, just having 0 upgrades. Dark Templar still being annoying in a natural and main base.
Yeah, it's one thing DTs are good at. Being really, really frustrating to deal with. Now the Vipers come in, abducts on the Void Rays. Of course, the big juicy targets are the Colossi, because that lets the Hydras do all their dirty work.
Yeah, viOlet doesn't have enough over here. Like, I think he needed to take his sweet time. He really had to be maxed out for an attack like this.
Too.
He should lose them. I think Stalkers could eventually catch them. There we go, forward blink. He's able to get one of them, and I think the second one...
No, not that. Oh! Aww.
Okay, well, this was a really big victory for HerO, because that allows him to once more be up to 3 bases. He was doing economic damage during all of this with his Dark Templar,
I mean,
and now he's moving forward as well.
Like, the Roaches in this army, the Roaches, they do nothing. He has 4 Immortals. Okay, he kills 1 Colossus. He's going for number 2 in the back. As the Immortals, okay, the Immortals are starting to drop. These Hydralisks are being allowed to unleash the full potential of their damage. With 1 Colossus in the back, shaving away at this, it's still quite difficult to deal with.
Yeah, this 1 Colossus changes everything. If that Colossus isn't there, then these Roaches and Hydra can just move forward and actually kill everything. The Mothership core does get picked off. HerO got a little overeager there, definitely overextending himself a little bit.
He's got the DTs over here. No Overseer with this army just yet. No speed for the Hydras means there's no retreat.
Nope. No retreat for these guys, and these Colossus just going to town, killing the majority of them. viOlet in so much trouble now. He's reproducing the Vipers that he has lost, but he only has 1. Second one is about to spawn, but he just lost so many Roaches and Hydras throughout this game. Take a look at the units lost resource step. viOlet close to 20,000 resources against only 13,000 of HerO. Even though that last attack was a little bit scrappy, I think in the end it is going to be good enough, and Liquid HerO will advance to the round of 8. He's definitely not there yet. Like, this game is not over, but viOlet is just taking too much economic damage. I think HerO might be able to do it for the first time this year.
Yeah, it's looking really good for him. HerO's even rebuilding his base at the top left next to his tech. And
oh, it's such a great series.
Oh man, he's been on the ball this game. He's been on point. The Roach Hydra Force comes up. Sniping continues just killing Overseers. He's like, yeah, my DTs will always be a threat.
Which is so frustrating if you're a Zerg player. You just can't catch a break.
He warps in 4 more Dark Templars too. He's like, yeah, I know you don't got that much protection going on.
How many Overseers do you currently have on the map? Not a single one.
Yeah. He kills every single one as soon as they're birthed.
There is one sport roll in the main, but you know, viOlet just doesn't have a whole lot to mine anymore. All of the bases that he's currently mining off have at least a couple of mineral patches that have already been mined out. Some even all of them. One more, that's a good abduct.
He's like, yeah, I found your GTs, and then they actually just end up killing half his army.
At the same time, Stalker's running into the natural as well. That is the only overseer that's currently on the map, but HerO is still getting some value for his investment over here in the natural. Gets another overseer.
This is a bad day to be an overseer.
I love that one Swarmos over there. He's just like, guys,
Guys,
back up.
Well, 5 more on the way, actually, so it's happening, Roddy.
Yeah, he's pretty much the only thing that viOlet can do. Making roaches and hydras against a Protoss player that's severely outmining you, has Blink Stalkers, Colossus, stuff like that, and you're on the defense, there's just no way that Roach Hydra is going to cut it. So Swarmos is pretty much the only unit that can somehow bring viOlet back into this game, but there's a reason why he didn't go into Swarmos immediately, and that is just because it's hard to make them work on a map this large and this open.
Yeah, Viper on the way for viOlet. More Immortals being made. He's just sticking with this really heavy gateway force. I guess at this point roaches are just cheaper to build, so he's going to naturally end up on more of them? I don't know. Locusts are going to become a problem slowly but surely.
I wonder if viOlet is aware of the fact that he doesn't have enduring locals.
Yeah, another GT in the third base.
HerO has killed 55 drones in this game. That is a job well done, I think it's safe to say. At the same time, still sniping creep tumors as well in the middle of the map with these Blink Stalkers. Something that's so important, something that we've seen Huck do a lot as well in all of his games against viOlet. And whenever Protoss players enter that stage in the game where they can just like start worrying about denying creep, as that is one of your main priorities, as there are no other bases to attack, you know you've done a lot of things right over the last few minutes in this game. viOlet just doesn't have too many resources left anymore. If you take a look at the mineral patches in the 3 mining bases of viOlet now, this one still has a few, but a lot of them are running very thin. This is pretty much mined out. There's maybe like 1,200 resources left in this base, and the main is mined out. viOlet needs to secure a 4th base desperately.
7 swarm hosts more.
It still doesn't have enduring locust. It's going up to...
viOlet's going up to 5 bases now, and HerO's going to 5 bases now, and viOlet is still struggling to get that 4th. Of course, it's always possible to bank money when you're building swarm hosts, but the way Catalina is mapped out, it's actually not that difficult to abuse swarm host mobility with that cliff going into the main.
One of the roaches from viOlet is going to find that 5th base of HerO, but there's nothing that he can do about it now. The Dark Templar is being wiped in as well to take care of that roach. There are a few HerO Zealots on the left side of the map that are going to try to deny that 4th base attempt from viOlet. And of course, then there is still this main army. Oh, there are a few roaches over here to welcome those Zealots.
Yeah, well, if the Zealots can get on top of them, they still deal reasonably well with them. Especially since Charge is about to complete.
Zealots actually good enough to take care. 3-1 Zealots. Strong unit. Against these 2 roaches. Roaches and Hydras are going to now try to secure this 4th base, but of course at the same time HerO is just going to try to deny this attempt to a 4th base, so I feel like it's just a matter of time. Oh, good forward blink there, gets a Viper as well, which is an important pickoff, especially because viOlet is starting to become really poor, Nick.
Yeah, he's out of money. HerO's just abusing him at this point with the mobility. Like that's all he needs to do. The way Catalina is set up, there's just so many different angles that you can attack these bases. There's so many different alleyways to reinforce through with the proxy pylons. I'm losing confidence in viOlet's armies. This game is like he's really missing out on a lot of the core units he needs to kill A, these Templar, and B, these Colossi.
Yep. Storm going down as well on top of these Locusts, forcing the Swarmos to reposition. Without enduring Locusts, they're definitely a little bit less scary than they normally are as well, and HerO's is having the time of his life. He's being everywhere. If you take a look at HerO's map vision, he has vision of like the majority of the bases that viOlet could potentially take. He has the entire top side of the map. It's just this one is pretty much over now. There's really nothing that I think can go wrong anymore, unless HerO just decides to throw away half his army against Locust with a move command. But somehow I don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah, I have a strange feeling he won't purposely lose this game at this point. +2 armor is about to finish up for HerO, and during Locust just now starts. Violet's like, nice farmhouse. They're not quite as effective as I'd like them to be. Bit late.
Still a little bit of money left. Actually, Stalkers just blink, which means that the majority of the Stalkers are going to be trapped now. HerO just wiped in 12 Dark Templars. Why would you ever wipe in 12 Dark Templars?
I think he wants like style points so he can get a game breaker or something.
He's getting my style points, Nate. HerO has made so many Dark Templars over the last 2 games. He could land a couple of feedbacks over here on these Vipers. He will do that. 2 abducts did go down on Immortals.
Are 12 Dark Templars, like, are we actually getting close to unnecessary unit loss at this point? Where he's like actually trying to, I'm not even sure anymore. Okay, the Hive is going to get picked up.
He's wiping in
no
7 more. 7 more Dark Templars, right?
Okay, this isn't VM, I don't know what is.
Manamu. Well,
how many are there total on the map right now?
He's been losing a lot, but he still has 10 of them. Now HerO is going to back off. He's like, I need to mine more gas for more Dark Templar.
He's taken the natural of his ninja base, so
he's just going to take like all the assimilators.
Eventually, he just wants to. His goal is just max out on DTs and then kill all the overseers like he's been doing.
You should max
and
out.
Be like, you actually can't leave your base.
Max out on Dark Templar Phoenix. It's awesome, Nate.
Yeah, that sounds great, Kev.
Hey, it's fun for a pros player to beat most players.
Oh man, poor. You know the supply is so deceiving because HerO has just an egregious amount of money.
Yep, he's gonna wipe in 10 zealots now somewhere. I think he realized that he was going slightly overboard with all the DTs, and that he does still have to worry about a bunch of locusts, as they're always dangerous. But he's been doing a really good job in just denying viOlet a base. He could actually land 2 storms now, I believe. Maybe he doesn't have energy yet. Viper is going to try to abduct, but even if he abducts it now, it's still out of range.
Yeah, he's going to need to
He's going to storm
he's going to need to lift a little more if you want to pull him that far.
He's going to storm drop the mineral line. Yeah. He's going to take out the hatchery in the natural as well, which doesn't really matter because there were no resources left anymore, but it does just, it looks more grim with each passing second.
Killing the Hydralisk then is pretty nice though, because he still doesn't have any real way to, like, now, yeah, that Warp Prism's right in his face, but there's nothing that can kill it.
He's gonna feedback these Vipers again. Well played there by HerO, getting 2 more feedbacks off on these Vipers. Even though he lost a bunch of Zealots, he lost the Archon.
9 more DTs being warped in. What's the DT count? What's the DT count? Go, go.
It's currently at 12 again, and we're going up to 15. No, this is Zealots. Oh, HerO, come on. You have to commit to what you start, but overall just like a really great series, I think. Things definitely picked up for Liquid HerO, and it looked very grim after 3 games, but he bounced back, showed a lot of character in this series, and eventually HerO will qualify for the first time this year for the round of 8 of WCS America.
Really great comeback by HerO in this match after getting slammed pretty hard at the start of the day by viOlet. The Dark Templar control was real. Like those DTs were everywhere on King Sejong Station in Catalina.
Yep. HerO just, it's nice to see that he still has what we loved so much about HerO. You know, he's always been one of the Protoss players that has been getting so much love and praise for his multitasking and his Warp Prism use, even back in the days when not too many Protoss players were using it yet. Of course, in this day and age, every top Protoss is showing off Warp Prism stuff and just being annoying with it as possible because it's just such an important asset to the Protoss arsenal. But it's nice to see that the old master has still got it. It's been a bumpy year for HerO, but I think this is a very, very important victory for him, and of course a great step towards BlizzCon as he is still in the running. If he makes it to the semifinals, there is a very good shot that he will go to BlizzCon. And if he makes it to the finals of WCS America, which is always possible because he won WCS America 2013 Season 1, he will definitely qualify. So it's a big best of 3 for him, and it's definitely nice to see him bounce back. I'm obviously sad for viOlet as well, but, you know, someone has to lose.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everybody can make it out of this group. We had a great set of games today, but let's hear from our advancing player, Liquid HerO. We've got him over with Cameron. What's up, guys?
Thank you, gentlemen. Cam Dozer here with HerO, who just advanced to the round of 8. HerO, the story for you today was comebacks. You were down in map 1 versus Iagas, and your storms got you back into that game and got you the win. You lost 3 maps in a row versus viOlet. How were you able to keep from getting discouraged to come back and advance to the round of 8?
송현두 선수 일단 8강 진출하신 거 축하드리고요. 그리고 오늘 하루 종일 너무 힘들게 올라오셨습니다. 계속 역전에 역전 거듭하면서 올라오셨는데 이번 경기 시작하자마자 첫 세트도 김동환 선수한테 내주시고 이제 3대 0인 상태에서 어떤 마음가짐으로 경기를 임하셨습니까?
일단 너무 그 이기고 싶다는 그 욕심이 너무 커서 부담도 많이 되고 되게 손도 되게 안 움직이고 제가 많이 말렸는데 이제 세 판 다 지고 이제 거의 반 포기 상태로 이렇게 그래서 그렇게 해서 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
At the start of the day today, I really wanted to win. I haven't been to any of the offline events in the past couple of months. Had some things that I need to sort it out. So I think that desperation for a win took me over in the earlier part of the day. And after the first set, losing 3, I was just like, you know what? I cannot lose to viOlet in 0-4 and go home. So I just kind of let it all out. I let it sink in me and played with a completely new set of mind. And I think that's what worked out today.
So tell us a little bit about some of the gameplay changes that you made between matches, because you played a lot differently versus viOlet in the second series than in the first series. For instance, your commitment to that cannon rush. What were your thoughts going into that?
자, 이제 첫 번째 김동환 선수랑 경기하실 때는 되게 좀 조심한 면이 많이 보였었는데 경기를 하시면서 두 번째 이번 이제 최종전에 오셔서는 이제 광자포 러쉬도 이제 확실하게 하려고 이제 좀 더 공격적으로 경기를 하시면서 조합도 계속 바꿔가면서 공격적으로 하셨는데. Sorry, what was the second part of the question?
I just made an example about the kind of changes, one of the changes I noticed.
Why he did?
Yeah, but I want to know more about what he thought, what changes he needed to make.
이제 공격적으로 플레이를 하시게 된 계기가 어떻게 됐는지.
그 처음에 했을 때 좀 동환이가 먼저 이렇게 전략을 거는 식으로 이렇게 주도권이 계속 제가 가지지 못하고 계속 끌려다니는 느낌이 들어서 좀 그렇게 또 하면은 질 것 같아서 먼저 어떻게든 먼저 전략을 건다거나 그렇게 시작을 하려고 노력했습니다.
So first best of 3 was 0-2 for viOlet, and that I believed it was because viOlet was always the person to make the calls in the first moves. So in the second set, the whole theme of second best of 3 was I got to be the first one to attack. I got to be the first one making any moves. So that was what it was.
Great. So your opponent in the round of 8 is going to be Polt. How do you prepare for an opponent of that caliber?
이제 8강 진출하시면 이제 8강 올라가시면 이제 최성훈 선수랑 경기를 하게 이제 대진표가 이렇게 돼 있는데 그건 어떻게 준비하실 계획이십니까?
일단 테란전이 되게 요즘에 힘들어서 좀 걱정이 많이 되는데 이제 집에 가서 그 연습을 좀 예전이랑 다르게 좀 많이 해야 될 것 같고 예전에 그 IM 쾰렌에서 그래도 이겼던 기억이 있기 때문에 충분히 이길 자신 있습니다.
Against Bolt, lately I've been having a lot of difficulty playing against Terrans, you know, in ladders and team houses and et cetera, et cetera. So, but on the other hand, I have experience in beating Bolt at IM Cologne earlier this year. So I think I'm gonna try to replicate that moment when I come back with tons of more practices when I go back.
All right, well, congratulations and best of luck to you in the round of 8. That's all from me for today. Let's throw back to the casters at the desk to hear their final thoughts. Gentlemen?
Thank you very much, Cameron. Well, Nate, I think my final thoughts are pretty short. It's been a very long day of StarCraft, but I definitely enjoyed it. I think this was the most fun WCS America round of 16 day that we've had so far. And of course, I can't wait for the one of tomorrow.
Tomorrow, guys, the group of death. We've got our Season 2 champion going up against, well, the guy that we thought would be the Season 2 champion, who we defeated in the top 8.
Against the Season 1 champion.
Tasia, yeah, against the Season 1 champion. Oh, man, Group B. And then Sejong, of course. I don't really have words for this. Tomorrow's just going to be awesome.
Tomorrow is going to be fireworks all over the board. Of course, we already know 6 out of our 8 players that will participate in WCS America Season 3 Round of 8. Now we know Scarlet and HerO are going to be there, Bomber and Hawk are going to be there, and Polt and Hart. So far, we only have a single Zerg, Nate, but tomorrow with both Hyun and Jaedang in the group, we should get at least our second Zerg player, maybe even 2.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit more variety as far as the races go competing here, since we already have a couple Terrans in. But I'm excited to see tomorrow's group. I think it's probably one of the more difficult ones to call, but well, that's
Probably.
that's why we have the fantasy, so I can be wrong and you guys can all be like, I know, I picked Pig Baby.
I definitely look forward to the fantasy predictions tomorrow. See what the people have been going for. I think for the majority of the fans out there, Tasia will still be the favorite, but I mean, yeah. I think most of you guys out there have definitely picked Tasia.
Summer ends September 21st, so Tasia he still got his extra aura about him.
I think I picked Tasia as well on my fantasy team.
Yeah, Tasia's never a bad pick.
No, he's never a bad pick. Even if like you were wrong, then you can say like, well, I was not technically wrong because I picked Tasia. It was supposed to happen.
Yeah, don't bet against Tasia.
Anyways, we are very excited. It's been a long day of StarCraft, but hopefully you enjoyed it. We definitely had a lot of fun, and we can't wait to see you guys tomorrow, of course. But for now, the final words will go to our very own Joshua Clutch Gray.
Thank you, gentlemen. Huge congratulations to Scarlet and HerO as they move on to the round of 8. You can catch them October 11th right here at ESL America Studios in Burbank, California. A big thank you to our guests, Steve from Newegg and Kevin from Cooler Master. Thanks for watching. We'll go live tomorrow with the final group of WCS America Round of 16 at 3 p.m. Pacific Time. On behalf of everybody here at WCS America, thanks for watching. Good night and good game.